Hello, so got the infamous swimmer data here. So if I bring up an XYZ plot, starts off the acceleration, the data a little bit bigger. So if I switch the Z-axis to pressure, there, so it's pressure's like way off the screen because it's like 1,000 or something, isn't it? So what I was trying to say was before, if I bring up this quads thing, you see that the limits are plus or minus 1 on the X, so plus minus 1, plus minus 1, plus minus 1. So the limits on this, the pressures on the Z-axis, pressure is somewhere in Newport. So what you need to do is, initially, you could say, click there and have it auto normalize all the data, but then depending on what you're looking at, if I then slide through the data, you'll see how it shifts depending on it auto scales each of these XYZ axes depending on what the data is within the bounds of what we're looking at. Alternatively, you can switch it to, you can click that again and say user limits. So it's at this point what we need to do is bring up this we click manually adjust axes, left shift and click to drag it into view, and this tells you, oops, do it again, it tells you that the current data we're looking at on the x-axis ranges from 0.08 to 0.473 on the x, that on the y, and the z is from 992 to 999. But the axes in this user limits is minus 0.5 to 0.5. So what we can do is we could change this to 992 and then make that maybe 1,000. Okay. Oh, sorry. Wrong one. Minus 0.5. 0.5 is this one I need to change. So 992. Make that 1,000. So that's the min max values. And straight away our data appears. You then maybe want to put this to minus 1, 1, minus 1, 1. So that the x and y axes are actually in G then. So you see here, x axis from minus 1 to 1, the y axis from minus 1 to plus 1, and the z axis here is from 992 to 1,000. So if we turn off the quads, oops, there, you can turn the sphere off as well. So you can see that's the data there. So as we slide through the data, it doesn't jump around because it just, well, it does jump around, but it's not rescaling. The data still remains with a plus or minus 1 on the axes of x and y, and 992 to 1,000 on the pressure. Okay. Harry crying in the background saying, "Oh no!" What I was saying about with this quads thing, if you right click, then if I get rid of that, sorry, hang on, get rid of that. Right click, then you get things that are relevant to the button you right clicked on. So here I've right clicked on quads. Then these buttons here become controls for the quads. So you can change intensity, not use font size, change the font size of that. If I was to turn that off, you could maybe bring up, well, you can right click on vectors, you change the magnitude, you can invert the colors. So if you take a screenshot and want to invert it to white, then they invert back to what they should be. You change the line thickness. If you have the sphere on, then you've got, if I right click on sphere, then we've got controls here. You change the intensity of the sphere, change the density, the thickness, and the colour. But that's just a side really. But yeah, this grid can be useful to just illustrate the ranges of the data you're looking at on each axis. I turn off the vectors today. and the vector's still there. Okay, but yeah, if you've got any questions, give me a shout.